Welcome, Ohio's mediators of people across the world, across the United States. Welcome into the Mediator with me, your host, Brian West. The sun is shining. I've got my holiday, my St. Patrick blues on. If anybody celebrates the green holiday, I don't have anything green on but my pants, so you probably won't see it through the camera. It's been a trying week, but I've managed to make it through. It was pretty relaxing, not too much going on, but the news constantly something going on, but can't be perfect. I mean, I have a little bit of sinus congestion, but I'm alive. I got up this morning, perfect, and I'm here for you to give you the top 8 headlines developing news stories that made it into the media this week. As usual, like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, all you have to do is visit the website. You can also see the top stories that almost made it in to the media. All you have to do is visit www.methodinc.com, methodinc.com, where you can, if you want to show us some support, all you have to do is buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. The weather is changing. Things are looking up. The ladies are starting to come out and smell the flowers. I wish I could taste the cooking, but I still could eat. But it's all right, So let's if you, like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, I'm in the office actually during the week at 5648 Market Street. I'm trying to do the best I can in my allotted amount of time. I try to live a clean life, keep myself nice and tuned up, try to nice and shaven. Cut my hair every once in a while, and I think that's what it's all about. So that's probably what we'll learn in today's show is they're just some people who dream. Everybody's got a different way of living and just a different ideologies, different beliefs. Some people like to mingle. Some people like to stay single. But as for me, I choose my methods are just nice and easy, keeping it clean. Like I said, if you want to contribute anyway during the show, all you have to do is visit the website. It's very, very simple. Everybody can be a contributor. All you have to do is buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something, or you can just sponsor a program. That's www.methodinc.com. I go through over 250 stories a week, navigating the news just for you, trying to get you to figure out what's important. Staying in the middle, trying to just even things out. I was raised a Baptist, fundamentalist, Christian. So, like I said, I've seen a lot of my little 37 years on this planet, but 36. It'll be 37 pretty soon. But I've tried to look at things from every angle. And there's some things that are right, some things that are wrong, and some things that are just out of our touch. Some people are just out of touch and they can't be reached. And that's maybe what we'll learn in today's show. Let me read a disclaimer really, really fast. These top 8 stories are only documented for records and to highlight topics for those in the business of talk media, talk radio, and those who just want to stay informed. Now, folks, let's get to the top 8 stories that made it to the media this week. Now, before we get to story number 1, let me remind you that I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect on this planet. I choose to, I make my bed in the morning. I clean up. I have to clean up after myself. I have to brush my teeth. I have to do some things to keep myself up. Some people don't like me. Some people do. Some people may not like me. I may like myself. I keep my confidence up. I try to encourage myself. I look in the mirror every day. But as we get to the top stories, we'll find out that some people, no matter how great you think you are, there's just some people watching and observing your way of living, and you may be on their radar to be victimized. It's happened quite a bit. Story number 1 that made it to the media this week: is taxing the rich the only answer to the U.S. financial woes? Folks, in every conversation we've had, there's been bills to pay every week, and different forms of government have been, or different ideas. I don't want to sound repetitive. You probably hear it on a lot of radio shows about people talking about the country's tax problems and the country's just tax woes and people having financial difficulties. I have some bills myself that have to be paid. The thing is that the story that made it in, you've probably seen this week, there's a constant battle in this country that is continuously going on between the rich, the poor, and the middle class. And it's hitting the political arena in a lot of different fashions. And you're starting to see it with different candidates having different beliefs. So a lot of people have been talking about socialism, talking about just the threat of the United States system in general, and how some people fear that there's going to be a collapse because of the debt and the amount of inflation, and how some people just can't afford to make ends meet. And on top of that, you have a system that is highly run by corporate leaders. A lot of people who may be sitting on cash. Had some things happen this week. Especially when we saw the closing of the GM plant in Youngstown. But some stories that surfaced in is like Senator Elizabeth Warren. She's been taking out a lot of and just anger on big tech and advocating taxing the rich in the 2020 race. So the question that we have to ask ourselves, especially the reason why story number one crept its way into the top 8, is taxing the rich the answer? Is it the only answer that we have? I mean, is because when you live in a capitalism, no matter what you do, you have to have money to survive. I mean, some people have. I met a friend of mine, Tony Budak, he's a member of the Time Banking. You have a barter system, but you have people who do not understand that just the different ways of money. You have people who waste money, people who spend, people use a lot of credit. So financially, the country, until people can understand money, and then there's just so many problems that we have with money. So when you talk about fixing the problems, you have to ask yourself, where is the money going to come from? Is it going to come from other nations paying up? Is it going to come from trade policies? I mean, are we going to have to up the price on things? So story number one, finances have been in the news quite a bit, but the financial problem is how will we pay the bills? And this is becoming a big problem. I think they're talking about now that some people are just going to have to work for some of the benefits that they get from the government. So you have to ask yourself in this structure that we live in, is how can these problems be solved? And if is the answer what most Democrats are talking about, taxing the rich. I have not heard too many Republicans talking about taxing the rich. A lot of them are just trying to get people up to speed on some of the policies that have been getting passed now, some of the laws and things like that. But the question is will we have to resort to the rich are saying that they're already taxed, but the money has to be somewhere. It has to be, the money has to be fluctuated back in, unless you give tax incentives for people who put money back into the system, or you have the rich maybe creating some new bond that they can buy from the government to where things can balance themselves out. But the money is somewhere, folks. We've seen a lot of innovations over the years that we've made, just tons of strides and new knowledge, new technology, new trades, new patents are being filed. So you cannot say we don't have the way to make things happen. But the reality is that maybe people just need to get on the same page. But there's still a lot of confusion going on with some other stories that we'll probably get to shortly. But the question is like, when you look at this financial system, who will have a solution, especially as we get closer and closer to 2020, and people are wondering if Trump is going to run again, or do we need somebody in there who understands what it's like to be poor, or do we need to give more money to the rich, more money to people who understand what to do with the money? Is the ball field unfair? And that's what you'll probably be seeing in a lot of news stories, is are people who can't, or living paycheck to paycheck. And there's been talk about people who do try to follow the rules, and it's just creating a real issue. Money is creating a big problem, and there's people who have invested in their children, and you saw the college scandals that just got leaked, and how the story just got leaked. There's people who have invested heavily in their children and found out that there's been some cheaters, and now they have to face some federal laws. So when we talk about finances in the United States, this remains a top story, and it's been staying in the news. But when you see politicians talking about recuperating dollars, and you see the Democratic Party, it's mainly the Democrats. I think there's maybe a few Republicans, maybe talking about how to balance the budget, how to get things back on track. But the main thing is how do we control the spending? And you may see this story gaining some more steam in the next few weeks. You don't know. I mean, we don't know. But right now, when you have candidates like Elizabeth Warren and other candidates like Bernie Sanders talking about the refluctuation of wealth, talking about redistribution of income and raising minimum wage, whereas people talking about raising it to $15 an hour, you have to ask yourself, where is this money going to come from? Making certain things free, making education free. This talk it can be very appealing to some people who do not have a lot, but the number one problem, if you talk about coming together as a team structure and understanding the system, is we have to understand how to get this money system under control, because spending is becoming a big problem and wasting is becoming a big problem, and people who understand money and people who have a lot of money, sometimes you have to convince them that there's a worthy investment, and do you want to invest in the United States? If you want to contribute anyway, you're in the media with me, Brian West, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, method80.com. This is the show where I give you the top 8 headlines developing news stories that made it throughout the week, so you can understand, get a simple idea of how to not only manage your own day, but understand what's important, what's in the news. I navigate the news just for you. So if you want to be a contributor or just help out anyway, all you have to do is visit the website, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com. That's www.METHOD, the number 8, INC.com. And all you have to do is buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. Or you can also stop by the store that we have at 5648 Market Street in Boardman, Ohio, and just get a service. Maybe you may want to buy, sell, trade, most mainly consignment. If you want to just drop something off and get rid of it and just give a percentage back to the community, community-run business, and just mainly run by me. So every little bit that I get in, we've had some interesting things coming up. A lot of interesting stories happening in the news, a lot of life-changing events taking place. So that leads us into story number 2. But like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, method80.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. If you want to be a contributor or you want to help out anyway. Let's get to story number 2. Evaluating the ripple effect of technology. We just had the internet's birthday, and they've been evaluating the pros and cons, and we've seen some massive stories hitting the news, especially the story about how there's been tons of jobs lost to technology. And there's just been, people have been evaluating just the pros and cons. The founder of the internet, I can't remember his name, but he's been really pessimistic about his invention, and you could just look at some, but a lot of people are satisfied. I mean the guy has got numerous awards for his creation and the impact that the internet has had on people's lives, just how easy it's made businesses. But the numbers are showing that just the amount of hate filled just violence that has been fluctuating, in the amount of just the impact that the internet has had on people's just lives. Some of it is good, some of it is bad. I mean, some people have connected with some friends, have found, but when you talk about governing and military wise, some people are saying that the internet has really made things less secure. I think Steve Jobs, he made tons of predictions back in the 80s, and most of those predictions have been met when it comes to the future of technology. Some of these inventions, I mean, you look at just the amount of thinking and design and engineering that have went into just the buildup of the internet. You can't help but to sit back and just wonder, like, wow, we've really reached, have we reached a peak, or is there just more to come? But right now there's been kind of a standstill because of policy and the fact of budgeting and money. But now that everything is computerized, you match that up with finances, and you got the fact that there's not people making these decisions based off emotions. It's mainly, if you don't pay up, you get that fee. And there's just a lot of pros and cons that have come with computerization. And there's just stories, like when you look at science and the fact that just how the internet and just technology has changed everything. Now that they're talking about editing babies and genes, and you have to ask yourself, is this good? And some people I was reading some stories. It was talking about God, and it says, if God made us, who made God? And you think to yourself, the idea of creation is kind of amazing, because you can create a computer and the computer has no knowledge of its creator. So and now that we're able to edit genes, and all of this stuff with technology, it just shows you how powerful of a species that we have become. But will it hinder us from actually achieving the fundamental basis in life, which is just the fundamentals? A lot of people have steered away from just fundamental thinking. Like, you look at, and you can see its effect that's happening. You look at some of these news stories just about how people have some massive thinking levels. Like, some people think that they're God. Some people think that there are gods, and so it's you're seeing all of this take place, all these levels of thought, and people wanting to know what's right and what's the wrong thing to do. All the instructions that we have on this planet are religious books, and we have the Bible. I think the Muslims have the Quran. The Jews have the Torah. You have Buddha. You have Buddhism. You have all of these religious, ethical cultures, and all these types of thinking. But we have to ask ourselves: is how is this changing? Is it for the betterment or for the worse? Especially after you just have the mass shooting in New Zealand. So these stories are creeping in the news, and it's creating a ripple effect. But the thing is, it's like I said, nobody is perfect. I no matter how great I may feel, or how much I believe my greatness can rub off on other people, or just how much I may believe that what I'm doing is superior to somebody else, somebody is always easing or making moves to better perform, better make a quality product. So this is where we're at. And the fact is that the internet product has taken off. Technology has taken off. It has taken us to another gateway of thinking, and this is another level of knowledge. And some people have not caught up. You have third world countries who don't even know some people don't even have never seen a computer. So that's what I'm saying. Like, these fundamental ways of thinking and how they're welcomed into the mediator, and how I'm enlightening you just by giving you the ideas of what's happening in the media, is just another form of radio. And it's another form of how you can reinterpret how you may think. And that's how it works. And that's why I say, in the mediator, you may get a new idea, you may get new things to leech off of. But technology in general has changed a lot of things, even how radio is done. So that's why I say you have to, when you talk about the pros and cons and all of this negative things, like, you look at how many people have been linked together, how many people have, but there's a lot of other stories that are surfacing. They're saying that technology is causing teenagers to fall into depression, to have suicidal thoughts, and then they're talking about all the space debris that's in our atmosphere. They're talking about how it's becoming dangerous to do business in space because of all the debris that is around us. People have been launching satellites right into the atmosphere. So you ask yourself, at the end of the day, as a human being, are we just fundamentally, when it comes to the gateways that we've opened of knowledge, are we just fundamentally losing our touch with reality? And the reality is just simple necessities in life. Like a female and a man, a man and a woman, finding some type of a common ground and just living a peaceful life. Why is it so hard to live right? Why is it so hard to do the right thing? Why do people get altered and go off into these altered courses of thinking? And then you have to ask yourself, some other articles I came across is, some people actually believe that some other human beings are not like I've heard people talk about some human beings are from Satan, some human beings are from God. So this level of thinking is an amazing way to believe in how to interact with life. Some people just have different methods. But like I said, as a mediator, it is my supreme duty to give you some type of just thought in this matter. Are some people born negative thinkers? Are some people born positive thinkers, optimistic or negative? I woke up this morning, I got up, looked in the mirror. I had some crazy things happen this week, but I shook it off. I got in, got myself cleaned up, read my notes, looked at all my stories, and I'm feeling great. But like I said, is somebody out there with a negative attitude trying to destroy me feeling great? And that's what we have to ask ourselves, especially after you see people constantly using violence to handle problems. They talk about supremacy groups, and is this becoming a natural way of people just understanding that human behavior is just more like an Rubik's cube or more like a Pandora's box than we've actually thought? Where could we possibly be getting the information and the inspiration to kill over 50 people? Or where could we be getting the inspiration to not be able to talk about our problems or talk about our misunderstandings? Some people close up shop, so there's different strokes for different folks, which is leading us deeper and deeper into the top 8 that made it in. If you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, method8.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. You're in the meeting with me, Brian West, where it is my supreme duty to give you the top 8 headlines developing news stories that made it throughout the week. Like I said, I go through almost 50 to 100 stories, or to 200 stories almost every week, just for you to navigate the news, finding the stories that are important to get your brain to kind of flowing, to get you kind of thinking. It's not that bad. You know, you see people commit suicide, but is it really that bad when you think about it? You've not given time enough to repel it, to heal itself. You're giving up on life, and you haven't even got the top story yet. That's why I come in here every week comforting my Ohioans, comforting my fellow citizens, comforting the world, telling people with my vocal cords. I've been blessed to talk, so I'm giving you some insight. Don't give up. The news is for you. I'm keeping you informed. So if you want to be a part of it, be a contributor. I'm not perfect, and I know you aren't either. But we can talk this. We can talk this out and try to find some reasoning, some common ground. No need to talk. No need to use violence. We can talk about this. So like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, if you want to see the stories that almost made it in, or if you want to catch the show, it's usually uploaded to our YouTube page. I try to get it up by the end of the week. You can visit www.method8inc.com. Doesn't take much. Doesn't take much to stay in the middle and try to figure out what's the problem in a situation. Looking at it from a long distance standpoint, we should be building rather than building bombs. Sometimes we should be building communities, but some people just have a really tough time with wanting to show their manliness, their womanliness by blowing things up and causing harm to other people. But let's get to story number 3. Story number 3: missiles, Trump's national emergency, shootings, and what could be next. Folks, the Senate passes a resolution to overturn Trump's national emergency declaration. And Trump is threatening to veto. And there's just some other things happening within this administration. Like North Korea says that they may suspend nuclear talk. Well, they say they're not. Oh, they're going to suspend nuclear talks. So they're going to keep building nuclear weapons. 50 killed and dozens, including young children, injured in New Zealand. We talked about this, the mass shootings at a mosque. And the fact that after Trump released budget-seeking buildings for a border wall, and he's also, I talked about this earlier, he's going to require work requirements for welfare. So we have to ask ourselves, folks, is how do we contain, how do we get diplomacy, how do we get back on the road of all of this just misunderstandings that we've seen? People are blaming the president, they're blaming policy. But there's just the fact that, like I said, we have a lot of things happening when you talk about North Korea. You have Russia. I guess it's plain to say, especially when you're talking about stories like this that are making it in, especially when you're talking about news, especially when you're talking about living and breathing in a country with so much wealth and so much to offer to the world. I don't think that it's going to be a nice, adventurous ride. I think the main thing that we're having a problem with, especially with North Korea, is the fact that they don't seem to be getting the message of denuclearizing. And if back in the day, and this is what makes people just with so much patience a little bit better, is that in mediation, I try not to cause conflict. But when you have a country who has been told, who have been sanctioned, and they've kind of used it, they've starved citizens, and then they've killed a United States citizen, and then on top of that, you have to the president of the United States have had to travel all the way overseas to the great communist regimes, and on top of that, dictators. I mean, you're sitting there and you're at the negotiating table and they're trying to make demands. First of all, let's look at the laws, folks. The laws of, if you talk about karma, you have to evaluate who struck first. And in this situation, especially if you want to get mighty about it, if you are the chosen nation, if you are the chosen nation, if you are the nation that is promoting freedom and democracy, if you are the nation that has been most impacted across the world in many foreign relations, foreign policies, and you're the nation that took down the most brutalist socialist regimes, which are allies of all time, and you have tons of resources, and you've provided aid for the common good of mankind. There's been misunderstandings between the past and the present, but you've settled those misunderstandings with legal laws, and you've had laws passed. There's power in that. So when we talk about negotiations, and you see the fact that this country will not disarm, and people are, when you talk about nuclear warfare, period, folks, I think you have to look at it as if the president can't negotiate when we have way more to offer, and the fact that you have a country who violated, laws by just popping off missiles into other. There's nothing right about this. The problem that the United States that we've always had as a country is, what do you do with leaders who do not care about their citizens, do not care about their people, brutalize their people, rape their people, kill their brothers, kill their citizens? What do you do with these leaders? I mean, you looked at it with Saddam Hussein. You looked at what happened in Iraq. You look at these Muslim nations, these Muslim countries, what they do to their citizens, their women. And then the fact, you look at Mexico, you look at all these nations, you look at all of their forms of government, and you look at the way they treat their neighbors, and you try to play the nice guy. You really try to be very, very patient. You try to be nice, and they take advantage of you, folks. I mean, what do you expect the American policy to be right now? Especially when you have all these people pulling at your coattail. Everybody's touting out racist slurs. You got all this craziness, and you can't even get people to come together in your own country. And it's the United States of America. Folks, there's some reality happening in the news, and you have to ask yourself at the end of the day, are you on the team? If you want to defeat the media, how do you defeat the media? You don't give them any type of action. You don't give them any type of violence. But it's happening. It's reality. There's hate out there. There's people who want to destroy the country where you were born in. If you live in this country, why would you not be on the same team? That's the problem that we're having, is uniting. People are looking at policies right now. They're looking at the policies of Democrats and Republicans, and everybody's like, okay, why can't we just all get along and get this together? We have all these people pulling at our coattail as Americans, period. Some Americans can't even go to some parts of the world because we have unseen enemies. You have to, that's whenever you look at the past, and you look at all of the things that Americans have been through, from the founding of the nation to the wars, the treaties, and people are still they still have all of that baggage. I have talked to my family. We have these situations within my own family sometimes where There's no we. One thing you have to look is you cannot undo the past. There's nothing you can do about the past. That's like a big law in mediation. But you can always work to make the future better. That's like the biggest law as a mediator that I can ever provide. There's not if somebody blows my leg off, it's done. I can seek vengeance. I can kill this person. I can ruin that person's entire life. But you got these people constantly nitpicking at the United States. Constantly, we've tried. For all this time, we've tried diplomacy. We've tried to talk about disarmament and everything. And they still, you look at these countries, they still want nuclear weapons. They still want to fight. If you want to contribute in any way, you're in the meeting with me, Brian West, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methodating.com. You sit there, you sit there, you ask yourself, North Korea, you ask yourself, what do these countries really want? We've asked you politely. We've tried to be nice. And then when you wonder why people start dropping like atomic bombs and stuff. Even that, when you look at Pearl Harbor, how we ended up in that war. We sit over here, we just want to build the economy. We have enough problems with racial injustice, minorities and majorities. You got rich people scamming colleges. We have enough problems over here. And the next thing you know, you got some dictator constantly. Oh, could United States, let's just go pop off some bombs and see if we can just pick with them for a little while so we can get more out of the deal. This is what's happening. Bullies. People who just try to weasel their way into the game. If you want to contribute anyway, they're not stupid people. These dictators overseas, they know how to get what they want out of a deal. They strategize. They even watch our pop stars. They watch all types of stuff. Some of these people study the United States, study the president, watch what he's doing. When they're watching everything, some of them probably got spy radars within our own radio system. We probably wouldn't even know. Is that important? Is that people when you have so much power like that? It's talked about in Israel. If you're a biblical scholar, in Egypt, when you're a ruling nation, this is what happens. That's why it's important that even at an early age, people understand the loyalty and understanding government policy. It's important and if you have citizens within that country, immigrants who become citizens, it's very important that people understand what's at stake on a global scale. Because if you don't, you can be caught off guard. You may think that these people are your friends, but you have something that they want. If you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methodating.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. You're in the meeting with me, Brian West. And that leads us to story number 4. If you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methodating.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. We are at the halfway point, and I'm breezing through story by story. We're at story number 4. Why can't the world get over nuclear weapons? And that leads us to our next point, our next topic. Folks, there have been articles surfacing about basically how there's been nuclear treaties that have been broken. People have been in violation. We have foreign leaders, we have diplomats, you have people all over the globe who keep an eye on countries that break the rules. And you have even Pompeo is saying that he's been pressing Kim Jong-un to keep his word about testing missiles, and about how some of these countries are just trying to get a leg in the game by getting a nuclear weapon. They've went to drastic measures. Scientists have become so important to some of these countries. They no longer care about religious law. I mean, some Muslim countries may care, but folks, some of these people have taken drastic measures to get into this power game, this power struggle. And disarmament would be the greatest thing. If we could all wake up one morning and everything was at peace. Just imagine how that would be if you were to wake up one morning not having to worry about the woes of the world, the woes of the system. But folks, some of these countries are still trying to get a grab of some type of nuclear power so they can threaten your country, your people. And this is what you see, and this is why everybody needs to get on the same page. You have a country that has when you have even I think Putin was talking about this earlier this year, and he was talking about some of the just the threat that we would probably face in 2019 is the nuclear arms race, and Russia themselves have violated some treaties. So all these countries are building up, trying to get nukes, folks. This is why story number 4, when you talk about nuclear weapons, this is why these stories are staying in. And why they're gaining steam is because the fact that people are they're trying to build up their arsenal, and they're doing it. If they can't steal it, if they can't invent it, they'll find a way to influence policy. So, folks, this is probably, if story number 4 gains any steam when you talk about the nuclear. Just the fact of nukes, just the race, some of these smaller countries, some of these countries, and then on top of that, you have a lot of global powers. China, who probably got people, some of these countries who have nuclear weapons, Israel, who've so when you have that much of a threat, when you talk about an invention that has changed the course of human dialogue, changed the course of diplomacy, changed the course of how we handle foreign policy. Some of these countries are making threats, folks. So we have to get on the same page. I've heard numerous politicians talking about we need to start uniting. The president may want to start uniting the citizens, because if people start just rebelling against this great see the shining sea that we have, it's not going to be great. It's not going to turn out great, because all these other countries are trying. We have something that they want. We have goods. We have services. We have a land. We have people that this is a real deal. This is the real deal. That's why stories like this, story number 4, have the race. We've got to somehow create a better environment for just the future. And I don't think nuclear arms race for any country is great. I think the talks that they were having years ago about everybody disarmament, we probably need to get back on that page. If you want to contribute anyway, you're in the meeting with me, Brian Westward. It's my supreme duty to keep a even ball field, to stay in the middle, and try to keep things calm. You may get some arguments, you may see some shots fired, but I have to come in with my cape on, and I have to power up to try to save as many people as I can with just my vocal vibrations. That's all I have to offer. I'm a little man, so I have to lift a lot of weights. I have to stay in shape just for you, so I can give you the top 8 headlines developing news stories every week that made it into the Mediator. And I'm telling you, folks, there's hatred, there's violence out there. The world is cruel, but champions rise up in the morning, and that's what I'm giving you, your daily dose of champion radio, your daily dose of great radio, your daily dose of encouragement. If you want to contribute, if you want to help out, all you have to do is visit www.method8inc.com, method8inc.com, and you can just buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. I'm your friend. I try to be your friend. I don't want to fight. I've seen my years of fighting. It's gotten me nowhere, but a few bruises and bumps and a few aches and pains as I get older and older. I want to live a long life with you, folks. I want to be able to share stories. I want to listen to your problems. I want to hear your heartaches and what makes you tick. If I don't like you, then I just won't come around you. If I don't like what you're saying, like I said, I'll just listen, and then I'll go encourage myself in the mirror. But that's what I'm here for. So if you want to be a part of it, if you want to check out the stories that almost made it in, if you want to be part of anything that we do at the Mediator at Method 8, all you have to do is visit the website, method8inc.com, method8.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. Let's get to story number 5. How did students become related to climate change? Folks, these kids went on a strike, and they're talking about worldwide action against climate change. There's another story that surfaces that UN report that the Earth's environment is deteriorating rapidly, and they say that time is running out. The question I have for you is, if you're a believer of any divine intervention, if you're a believer of nature, natural laws, you have to ask yourself, is climate change real? And this story has crept its way up to number 5 because of the fact that you've had children taking a day off from school, striking, saying that their future is at stake if we adults don't get a control on climate change. Now, the data is saying that the earth is warming, but we have to ask ourselves, is this man-made? Are we really consuming too much? Is all of the pollution and all of the consumption, when we talk about our day-to-day activities, CO2 into the atmosphere, Are we causing the earth to get warmer, or is it just trends? All I can say is, from reading tons of books in my entire life, the earth has always went through trends. They used to have droughts back in the ancient days that you could read it in some of the books where they start worshiping and doing rain dances. But we just have technology. We have data that's telling us that the world may be getting warmer, but we don't know. We don't know if all the space debris is so. So the question is it man-made? I was watching a movie. Great movie. I wish they'd have kept the series alive. It was called The Golden Compass, and she was talking about, this was back in 2008 when they were talking about climate change. Let me remind you, it is 2019 now, so that was almost 11 years ago. So there hasn't been much of a difference. They were talking about the same thing. The thing we have to ask ourselves is, did somebody find something that was just like pretty much Darwin's theory of evolution? Did somebody find a topic that was worth talking about and worth changing or manipulating human thought? That's what we have to ask ourselves. Is this climate change just another way to alter people's imagination? Just like all Christians or all Muslims are not bad, or all people are not radicals. So we have all these people influencing our way of thinking by telling us the bad rather than the good. The good thing is that we've made innovations. We now have electric cars. We now have cars that run off batteries and electricity. So all of this new innovation, is it really going to change anything? So those are the questions that we have to ask ourselves, especially when we have story number 5, gaining some steam. Climate change is working its way back into the media, working its way back into the news, because younger children are taking it amongst themselves. Or is pollution really a problem? You'll probably see the story gaining some steam because of the fact that we're about to be by Earth Day, and we're about to reach the summertime, and people are going to start touting once again that pollution and the fact that man is causing most of the problems that we have across the world. That leads us into story number 6. Like I said, if you want to contribute anyway, you're in the media with me, Brian West. We're almost at the top 3 stories, we're at the top 3 stories that made it to the media this week. If you want to be a contributor, help out in any way, all you have to do is visit METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, method80.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. It is my supreme duty. As a child, I was put up to the sun, and I was smiled upon by the prophets. I was given strength from above to come in here every Sunday to give you what you need, your daily dose of calm radio, calm mediation, giving you the news like it's I wouldn't say like it's supposed to be, but I cook it up just for you. It's just specially made. It's a special program, special news to keep you informed. Top 8 headlines, developing news stories that made it out throughout the week with a little touch of love from me, the media, just for you folks, just for you. So if you want to be a contributor, if you want to help out anyway, all you have to do is visit METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, and you buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something, or you can just sponsor a program. That's all you have to do to help out. Not much. Like I said, I don't ask for much in this life. I've always been, I take it as it comes. I get up every morning, stretch out, get my daily run in, and I feel great at the end of the day. I've been called names in my life, folks, and I've been let down, but I keep getting up and I keep rising up. I rise up. So that leads us to story number 6. Story number 6, how the in crowd caught the media's attention. Folks, some people just got caught up in some college scandals. They were, if you didn't hear the story, it was all over the media about big time celebrities, big time wealthy people basically getting their kids some top level college treatment, top level special treatment. And it kind of asks the question of what it brought up a lot of people talking about just scandals and how people with less are treated, like people with disabilities are taken advantage of. So this scandal has really uncovered a lot of problems, especially when you talk about fairness. And fairness is a good word, and it a lot of people value fairness. Fairness is probably the greatest thing that I think that people, one of the greatest things that people value in life, children as well. So when they see unfairness, I think you're probably seeing it on a scale, right? Especially when in the collegiate scale, where people feel like they've been treated unfair because of wealth. And so this story is going to probably linger on, and it is up to number 6 because of the scale that there's just no fairness in giving privileged people them and their children, especially when they're already 2 steps, 3 steps ahead of the game, some even 10 steps. So this story is the in crowd has caught a lot of attention, and for years, families who have had connections, they say, with the crowd have had the upper hand, and it's creating a spur of news. I mean, this story it's really gaining some steam. I don't think it's gonna last that long, but I think what's going to last is the fact that people in college just keep getting it. I myself, my school shut down. I went to ITT Tech, and they shut down because of scandals within their own organization. So college students are really getting hit hard, and they're just begging to keep these stories alive because a lot of college students are suffering with debt. A lot of them choose to do the right thing, and they just end up with another bad straw. But this is just another kick in the gut, and a lot of college people are just suffering because they have those big bills, and now another scandal. Some of these people are probably still, even the children that go into school trying to better themselves, investing into their own lives, and another kick in the throat. And then on top of that, they have all the debt when they graduate, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. So story number 6 probably is going to gain some steam. If you want to contribute any way you're in the media with me, Brian West, where it is my supreme duty to give you the top 8 headlines developing news stories that made it throughout the week. If you want to contribute any way, all you have to do is visit method, the number 8, inc.com, method80.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. I come in here every week. I go through 250 stories a week to just figure out which ones are the most important, which ones are just beneficial, and which ones you probably could use to understand what's actually happening and just stay informed. That's the main thing. So let's get to the top 2 stories that made it to the media this week. Story number 7. Why is depression and suicide becoming such a big problem in the United States? Folks, we just had some big suicides, big problems. And a lot of people are talking about, I'm reading this book about the spirit and the soul of a human being, and they're talking about just the culture in the United States, and a lot of people are suffering with depression and suicidal thoughts. And this story bumped us all the way up to number 7 because it affects military veterans. People start getting these thoughts in their mind that they are not worth anything. They go on social media. They may get verbally abused. They may be going through some things in their lives. Their parents may not be getting along. And you get results like people shooting themselves. And there was an actual story of a Florida student who shot herself in the auditorium of a school. And it is really affecting younger adults. And then you had a story, when you talk about just depression, period, you could be a white supremacist, you could be a black supremacist. People suffer with depression, and they have this view of the world where they feel like some people just have a natural feeling as if they're not fitting in, and it's affecting just the social grounds. It's you look at when you get older, you start to understand these things a little bit more. But when you're that young, you have all those emotions flowing. A story like this is probably going to stay alive because of the fact that we just had another mass shooting in another country. But there's always a ripple effect, and these people want to be heard. All I can say from my own experiences is when you keep all of that energy, all of that negative energy, if you don't get it out, if you don't go work out, if you don't find a way to get it out, even if you don't find somebody to complain to, find an outlet, it can result to a big problem. We just had George Foreman's daughter passed away, and then you have all these videos online that can fuel this negativity. I mean, it can fuel your fear of being of existing in this world. It can any type of negativity. I can encourage you, if you feel depressed, or if you feel lonely, or if you feel bad, if you've lost somebody, do not feed the negative energy. You can't feed it. You have to be encouraged. Gospel music was a big thing in my life. I've always resorted to gospel music whenever something was what's going wrong. I've always resorted to music, period. So you have to find something to leash on to. And that's why story number 7, why depression and suicide is becoming such a big problem. Like I said, if you want to contribute any way, you're in the media with me, Brian West. All you have to do is visit www.method8inc.com. I'm trying to give you some good, clean radio with a little touch of love, so you can have a reason not to get angry with the right or left, but have a reason to just stay in the middle and be the peacemaker. There's no need to get all excited and all amped up. All it's going to do is cause heartache and pain. I'm telling you, I'm a witness. But I've chosen as the mediator to try to save you with the radio, giving you good vibes, good vocal patterns. I practice during the week. I talk to myself in the mirror. I tell Brian, you can do it. You're great. You believe in greatness, you feel great, you are great. And you can get up Sunday morning and you can look at the notes and you can get on the radio from 4 to 5 and you can interpret what you see, giving the people what they need. And that's love and affection. I'm giving you love and affection. 50-50 love, baby. I'm telling you, 50-50 love. You want to contribute and you want to be a part of that 50-50 love. If you want to see the stories that almost made it, all you have to do is visit method8inc.com, method8.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. I'm here for you. I love you. I got you. We could do this together. We could go on this journey of radio and talk about the discussions. We don't have to fight. There's no need to fight. All it's going to do is create more fighting. I want you to feel good about what we're talking about. I want you to enjoy it. That's why story number 8. Let's get to story number 8. The top story that made it to the media this week. Why are so many people turning against the American dream and how it could make the average person a target? Folks, if you haven't noticed by now, some people do not like when you get all the attention or when you get a little bit of attention. And it's creating a level of competition that is rising, creating lonely spells, and it's creating envy, and it's creating violence, it's creating pain, it's creating evil. And whenever you have any type of gift, or you could be a benefit to others, folks, you become a target. They're talking, if you look on YouTube, tons of videos talking about conspiracies with talented people being given record deals and then turning out on drugs and having their soul drained out or selling their soul to the devil. So all of these videos and all of this, whenever you have gifts, folks, it's always good to enjoy them and try to use them wisely. But there's also some stories that when we try to move forward, when people try to move forward and get a better education, better themselves, you have to ask yourself, why is it that people just have this cloud over their head? That's why I'm telling you, you have to stay encouraged. They're saying that women have had more plastic surgery than they've ever had before. Breast augmentation, liposuction. They're saying that this is becoming a popular procedure. They're saying that people are being verbally abused. There was a Mississippi mom that claimed that her breast implants poisoned her. Folks, this is the real deal stuff. People are doing some crazy things to try to impress people. Be happy with yourselves, folks. If you're fat, be fat and happy. I like fat people. Fat people keep me warm. I'm a little man. I can see big girls, I give them hugs. Big girls need love too, folks. And that's what I'm telling you. That's why I see it is my supreme duty to give you what you need, give you confidence. I love big girls. I got, like I said, if you see big people or it's okay. It's all right. Because we all are different. If there were no big people, there'd be no linemen in the NFL. Somebody's got to be on the line. To some local stories that made it in real quick. Jong-un budget plans he's targeting funding kids for workforce and water. So he's changing the budget for this. I guess he's gearing more towards just family. 8 men arrested in human trafficking sting. Youngstown to consider raising the age of tobacco use to 21 to buy tobacco to 21. Unemployment rate 7.2% in January. Folks, I want to thank you so much for tuning to the media this week. Like I said, I'm giving you the news with some love, so you can't hate me for that. I'm trying to. When you see 50 people being shot while praying, those are innocent lives trying to pray, just praying. There's nothing wrong with believing in God, but I can honestly say that America is great, folks, and this country allows you to have the freedom to be whatever you want. The American dream is in your mind, it's in your head. If you did not get that idea out, if you didn't believe in yourself, there's probably if you don't have hope or some type of encouragement, then you will fall into the pessimistic trap. You will fall into the realms of darkness. That's why you have to find something to build you up, something to hold on to, some reason to live life. I hope you got something out of mediation today. I hope you got something out of the mediator. And I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good week. I am going out into the 40 to 30 degree weather. Have a good week, everybody. Thank you for tuning to the mediator with me, Brian West. Have a good week.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The mediator is